my name's not up there anymore, but I want you to do me a favor that is related to what I do every time I introduce myself to one of my classes at Wheaton College. I say, the first thing we need to do, we need to get my last name out of the way. Because these 6 letters have caused me no end of grief in my 51 years. So, how do you pronounce my last name? It's pronounced Bacote, is how it's pronounced. It's not Bacote, Bacote, Bacote. I don't really mean baker when I say my name is Bacote, Bacote. So I'd like you to do me a favor and pronounce it with me. So here's the key to pronouncing my name. The first part is Bay, like the Chesapeake Bay, that's about 45 minutes from here, right? And the second part is coat, like we have to wear because the weather is changing, or like you wish you had if you thought it was going to be 70 degrees when you came up here for this conference. Because it's winter now, right? Winter is here. All right, so let's try this. Bacote. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, and my family appreciates that very much. Well, I want to tell you a true story. It goes like this. Once upon a time, I was a prisoner. Not the kind of prisoner that you might usually think of. That's the kind of prisoner that is at the place where my dad used to work. My dad used to work at a place about an hour from here called Oak Hill Youth Center. It was a juvenile jail, that kind of jail. I don't mean that kind of prisoner. I mean the kind of prisoner where it's really a prisoner in one's mind because you're not free. You're not free to flow into your life. You're not free to flourish. I was that kind of prisoner. Well, how did that happen? Like many people, when I started school, school was fun. I loved going to school. I was very curious. I'm still a very curious person. And things were great from kindergarten through 4th grade. Then it happened. 5th grade. 5th grade, kind of think of it this way. Imagine going for a stroll with all your friends, and when you go for a stroll with all your friends, everything is just the way it's supposed to be. You're having fun, you laugh, you enjoy being together. Imagine you're going for a stroll with all of your friends, and you're laughing, then all of a sudden, the only laugh that you hear is your laugh. And then when you notice that's only your laugh, and you look around at your friends, they're all looking at you, and then they all start communicating to you that one of these things doesn't belong. I was that thing that didn't belong. And what began was just a message that said things to me like this. Vincent Bacote, you are strange. Vincent Bacote, you are a stranger. Vincent Bacote, you are a freak. Vincent Bacote, you are not welcome here. Now, I had to go to school. I mean, no one could keep me from going to school. Of course, I mean, that'd be against the law. So I went to school every day, but every day I was being told by my peers that I was not welcome. I was being told that there was something wrong with just being me. Day after day after day after day. If you think about it in terms of like what people might call social capital, my stock went to 0. And after a while, the video you've seen is about having hospitality. I was getting hostility instead of hospitality.
microphone number 4 work? Yes, it does. All right, so never mind the fact that I'm wearing this and this, right? I mean, it's kind of an interesting look, right? But anyway, so I was getting this message that I did not belong. Well, instead of hospitality, I was getting relentless hostility. And here's what you must know. I wanted to know, why was this happening? And of course, nobody told me why this was happening. And it just kept happening. And I came to basically believe that I didn't belong. And because I came to believe that I didn't belong, it got so bad that one day in 6th grade, I went into our kitchen one evening. And I went to the drawer where we had those knives that some people are going to be using to slice turkeys with on Thursday. I opened that drawer, pulled out a knife, and I put it right here. Now, I'm still here. But that's how much I thought I didn't belong. That was the result of getting hostility instead of hospitality. I came to believe that just existing was a problem because of hostility instead of hospitality. I wasn't free. I was in a virtual prison because I thought that everything I did, what I said, how I moved, how I played sports, that everything was fair game to experience hostility. But here's the thing. I'm standing here in front of you right here. I didn't take my life. I'm not that person anymore who's in a virtual jail. I'm free. But what happened? Well, I have to say, it took a while. I mean, I had a major identity crisis for years. I was one of those people with a really bad self-image. I couldn't believe anything positive about myself. I couldn't believe any positive words that people told me. But then, in college, and in my early 20s, I had some new friends. And these new friends were as relentless in their hospitality as other people were to me in their hostility. They essentially banged on the doors of my virtual prison. And eventually, the doors, they knocked them down. Well, what did they do in giving me hospitality? They told me that I was somebody with gifts, talents, abilities. They told me that I was welcome. They told me that they recognized that I was like a wounded person and they wanted to do their best to help heal my wounds. They listened to me. They cared for me. And they refused to let me believe that I didn't matter, that I was a nobody, that I was a nothing, that I didn't have a right to exist. Their hospitality was so relentless that eventually I began to flourish. It wasn't easy, but it took a while, and now I'm much more of a flourishing person because people were relentless in their hospitality to me, because though others called me a stranger, they called me friend. And because of their friendship, because of their hospitality, I stand before you today as somebody who can say, yes, I've got a story. Yes, I'm a witness to what happens when you receive relentless hospitality. You know, everyone in our society wants justice. They may have different ideas about how you get to justice, but everyone wants justice. The difficult thing about getting to justice is the fact that what's much easier when trying to get justice is to, one, try to protect yourself or to operate in a way that's characterized by fear or by suspicion or by keeping other people out. But God tells us that there's another way to justice. God wants his world to operate a particular way. There's a blueprint for how humans should work, how they should flourish. And that blueprint isn't by fear and hostility. It's by welcome. It's by hospitality. This is a Christian conference, and Christians are people who say they want to be like Jesus. They're the ones who want to hear Jesus say, in the end, I want to hear Jesus say to me, well done. In Matthew 25, we have a very interesting text. There's a whole series of parables there about what happens at the end. And I want to read to you a parable that you've doubtless heard about many times, and that is in Matthew 25, the parable of the sheep and the goats. It goes like this. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Now, please understand, sometimes people might hear this and say, oh, so are you saying you believe in salvation by works, that it's just about doing stuff? That's not the point, because he talks about a lot of different things. But here's the whole point. As Dallas Willard used to say, salvation is certainly against us earning our salvation, but it's not against effort once we're saved. And we may not be saved by works, but we are saved to do works. There's that language in Ephesians 2:8-9, people quote it all the time. For by grace you're saved through faith, that not of yourselves. It's the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Of course, the Bible doesn't end at verse 9. Verse 10 says, we're his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works that God prepared for us, that we should walk in them. What Jesus is talking about in Matthew 25 here in the parable of the sheep and the goats is part of those works. When we talk about being Christ-like, yes, it's about our character, but here Jesus is saying it's absolutely about hospitality. It's absolutely about looking to others to care for them. Looking all around us and finding ways to welcome people, to care for people, to say, if it's up to me, I'm going to care for you. I'm going to seek your flourishing. I'm going to seek your good. You may be aware that in our country right now, there's just a little bit of division. Just a little, right? And the thing is that Christians haven't exactly been silent in doing their part in saying some things that are divisive. Now, people say things that are divisive for various reasons. They say it out of fear. Some people say it because I'm happy my side won. Some people are saying it because they're angry that the other side won. There's all kinds of things that people are saying to each other. But here's what I'd like to ask you to think about. What if Christians were known in a divided society for being the people that say, when it comes to us, hospitality is our reputation? We are known that whether you're on my side or not, because you are an image bearer of God, I will be the face, the body of justice to you. Because why? Because you are a neighbor just by being a human being. There's no asterisk beside neighbor. Neighbor doesn't mean only those that agree with me, only those that look like me, only those in this country. Neighbor is anyone who bears the image of God. Anyone. Now imagine, because in case you haven't looked at certain surveys, Christians in the United States have a bit of a checkered reputation. You know one of the remedies for that checkered reputation? Hospitality. Being people who are known for saying, yes, those people kind of get on my nerves, actually, but the fact that they get on my nerves does not give me reason to dehumanize them. The fact that they're human is cause for me to say, you are my neighbor, and Jesus tells me that the sum of the law when it comes to how we interact with each other is love your neighbor as yourself. And all of us, I think, want, when it comes to ourselves, we want our lives to be lives of flourishing. Now, you might be saying, I'm in high school. What am I supposed to do? So here's what I would like to invite you to do. I want you to imagine what it would be like if all of you decided we want to be the army of hospitality. We are the people who are going to be known that wherever we go, we are the ones who say, you are welcome. We are the ones that say, we are interested in your flourishing just because you're a human being. And that's what we are committed to do. And here's the thing I want you to think about. You can start being an army of hospitality in your friendships, in your home, in your extracurricular activities, and you can start dreaming about when you're in college, when you're into adulthood, how you can be an agent of hospitality in whatever domains you spend most of your hours of the week. Because the fact of the matter is, it's not like we're overrun with hospitality in this world. Everyone wants it, but a lot of people are afraid to practice it. What if you decided it's going to start with us? We're going to be the people who say, yes, we're committed to justice. And you know how we're committed to justice? We're committed to justice by saying hospitality is our brand. It's our brand, and people will say, you know, those Christians, even if I don't understand them, even if I don't kind of like what they believe, you know what I can't say about them? I can't say that they're characterized by hostility, because all they do is practice hospitality. Friends, I'm going to join the army of hospitality. I hope you'll join the army of hospitality. Because believe me when I say, if you join the army of hospitality, and when you go back, you encourage others to be an army of hospitality, people will say, that's a Christian witness that I haven't seen in a long time. Maybe there's something to this Christian faith. Maybe they really care about the common good. Maybe they don't just care about themselves. Man, they care about everybody. And just as I was freed from prison because people were relentless in hospitality to me, you too can free others from their various prisons with your hospitality. I'm joining that army. I hope you will too.